Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashraf al-mursaleen. Muhammad ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. This is video number 4. And I'd like to share again to Muslims in Japan and Muslims in Fukuoka. Some may think like there is a personal issue here, especially between myself and Imam. And I would like to share with you some points to show that it's not about personal issue, but something very important for all of us, especially as we said before, this kind of project has been initiated many years ago and many people involved. And we're expecting to have a good organization where Muslims can enjoy being together and doing activities together. Look at the way the Imam has been chosen is very strange. You know that the Imam has been chosen outside of the Shura. There was in Ramadan 5 years ago, a brother from India requested Muslims in Fukuoka, of course, the committee, to accept him to be Imam for 1 or 2 years after Ramadan, because he was praying with us as Imam. And then the issue was sent to the Shura in Masjid, and then they discussed, and his point was raised, and finally the majority, a great majority, said it's okay, the brother can stay here as Imam for 1 or 2 years. So instead of looking for a better language to talk to him, if these what I say underground committee, the people who are really appointing how to say stuff in Masjid, didn't like him, at least they're supposed to find out a good way, for example, to kick him out. If they don't care about Shura, and it's not the first time, but actually they don't care about Shura most of times. But I was really shocked and my heart was really broken when I saw a brother of us from India who memorized Quran, who is a teacher in a good school in India, and he's doing efforts about Islam, to be treated by that way. He went back to his country, but in his heart is we have a kind of racism here in Masjid, because that time the brother, revealed their intention that actually they want to ask this guy who is with us as Imam. So whether him or another person is not a problem, but the process, the method of doing things, are very, very surprising, and sometimes really it's shocking and makes you feel very, very sad. This is the first crash, you can say, with Imam. But Imam was not here. Actually, he did not involve in doing this. But after he came back, we sent to him indirect message that actually he has been chosen in illegal way. And it's really dangerous. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Shura, وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورًا. But before that, وَالَّذِينَ يَجْتَنِبُونَ كَبَائِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَالْفَوَاحِشَ وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ. وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورًا بَيْنَهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed about performing salat. After that, the importance of Shura. So Shura min al-kaba'ir. Destroying Shura is min al-kaba'ir. It's very obvious, and ulama, do not have differences about this. If the Shura, they decided something, and which is something great, which is something logic, as somebody just asked to be Imam, and then people accept, it was one brother, he just stood up and said, no, we don't accept it. Actually, they want to send a different information that we have our own guy, we want him to be here. So I was, following this kind of story. So I have a kind of really, no heart attack, but it's really hard to accept this. For you guys, you don't have the information. You can forget because you were not involved. But some of us, we followed the situation. I think you may agree, if some of us we disagree this way, and to still saying this and repeating this to these guys in order to not repeat the same thing, because we are not living in the society of wisata, clientelism, that many of them, they grew up with this kind of stuff. So we have to stop them that no, don't deal with the Muslims here in Japan. This is one confrontation that probably you may think like it's personal, but actually it's not personal. The second thing is, before going to the second thing, if this guy was clever enough, he could try to identify the case and make a call to his brother from India, who is a Quran teacher. All his brothers, mashallah, and father memorize Quran, very nice guy, and make a call and say that, there is something happened, I got such kind of information, we, presenting our apology, and this, because now he has a legal position as Imam. He's supposed to think like that, but I know it's not his way of thinking. He may never think like that. Okay, the second problem with this Imam, he is one of the brothers who are here little bit longer and who knew the story of this Masjid matter. So when he was a student, he knew that we deal with community. The Jum'ah means one day there is one brother from Indonesia may make khutbah, and Bangladesh and Pakistani. It's a good way of creating in terms of integration and in terms of brotherhood, as we came from different countries. By the way, when you are choosing khutbah, for those who do not have experience, you choose the topic that you feel is priority. So when you are the only khatib, so you choose topics that you feel like it's priority. So if we have a big number, let's say 10 people, we just choose 10 people to make the khutbah as we used to do before this guy comes here. So this is something, natural, based on the society we live with. And in many Arab countries, even in Masjid al-Nabawi, the rotation of Imam for even the Farli, the Dhuhri and Maghrib and Isha and Asri and Fajr, they have this kind of a system of changing Imam. For Jum'ah, I was in Egypt when I was doing my high school in Azhar, the university there. You can see that some big masjid, like Masjid some Makram before, I don't talk about the current situation in Egypt, Masjid Midan Lubnan, Masjid Mustafa Mahmoud, there are several masajid. I used to go through. The culture of changing Imam is really considered, and you can find out in big mosques. I don't talk about small mosques where, for example, no people who may go and do the khutbah, but some masajid, this kind of idea of changing khatib is there. Here in Fukuoka, this is an academic city. More than 70% of Muslims here are not only students, but masters, PhD, and lecturer and professor from Muslim countries with a better Islamic background that we can share the khutbah for Jum'ah. So if it's a matter of quality, or be careful about the content of the khutbah, as they try to say that, this guy, he will say the khutbah, will not say something wrong, it's something political and stuff. Yeah, we can just discuss that. Let's do this kind of topic. In addition, we can check the content of the khutbah as a group of khutbah, of the people who may, for example, deliver the khutbah. Imam himself, if he wants, this one who is imposed as Imam right now, if he wants to know exactly what may be in the khutbah, he can just be, like a coach and check the khutbah. But continuing this system of rotating the khutbah as we do in Chikushi and Ito is the most suitable for us here in Fukuoka. This Imam came here and he destroyed this policy, though he lived this policy before being appointed Imam, but after became Imam, that means he was planning to come to destroy this kind of policy. So if you think this is a personal, okay, it might be personal, it's not a problem, but it was my obligation as somebody who was following the situation to keep saying that, Imam, your position or your decision to destroy the rotation system of Jumu'ah is wrong, and once you go back, inshallah, we'll bring it back. The third point or fourth point, you may look at if it's personal or not. The Imam has weakened the organization. Before, there is a committee, and the committee decide things, and then, but honestly, with the time, you see like the organization has been weakened, and the way Imam really talks, and it looks like he's a really Superman. He's above the committee. And you could see that there is a going down a process of the committee, and the system has been replaced by himself. I remember one Egyptian brother asked one question when during Ramadan he raised the issue of kids to not kids less than 10 years to not pray with the men in the second in the first floor. The Egyptian guy asked one question: "What's your position exactly? You know, are you imam or because everybody may think like he is the Superman. I mean, he does everything and no committee, no shura. Yeah, now he's combining but somehow you may say that he has reasons because people. I saw some of the people used to be active before left the masjid, and some Japanese used to be there. We don't see them because probably this kind of ihtikar, this kind of wanted to be the Superman, the how to say in our Middle East culture we say the strong man. Maybe want to be the strong man. So this is another point. So you may this one is personal or not personal, Allahu Alam. But for me, I feel like it's not personal. And number 5 is this kind of attitude, this kind of policy of fear. Yeah, as I told you several times, you go to masjid, there is a fear system because, as we said before, somebody maybe he came to masjid as a new, tried to make azan or something that they think like they have some policy. The way of resolving problems are violence and shouting and stuff, and this kind of policy or this kind of fear and especially Imam himself, I said several times, he is the core person of the shouting things the most of times. So I don't think so. This point should not be raised, and we should not criticize him and others who are embodying the same policy. Actually, about the shouting, he's not the only one. There is one guy also. People say that he's a member of Muslim Brotherhood, but I'm not sure. He was number one, noisy guy in our masjid and many other places, and creating a kind of fear and stuff that may never go with the da'wah. The number 7, and this is more dangerous as well. And actually, I think 2014, in Kumsa, we had a shura, and one Indonesian brother, 2014, was the president. He's still here in Japan. You can go in Fukuoka, you can go and ask him. So we decided about how we are going to do some activities, especially after Eid. And they decided a khatib. And then the imam, because he's working like CIA, sometimes he's trying to get information of what Kumsa did, and sometimes there is another discussion we have to discuss what's the connection between Kumsa and Masjid. So we decided as a shura, and the guy, because he feel like he's a Superman and a super and everything, so he went with another guy and talked to the committee that we don't want X to make the khutbah. And then, I mean, this thing has been decided of the shura. I just want to say that this kind of idea of destroying shura and the idea of clientelism and a kind of, how to say in Arabic, wisata, something like some people, they grew up with that as a sharia. He feel like he can just go to the shura of Kumsa because young guys and then crash and say, no, I don't want. Who you are, man? I don't want that person to be imam. He's Superman. And then he destroyed the decision, and then him and another person, they look for another guy from Algeria. His name is Brother Murad, and then Murad has been asked to make the khutbah just suddenly 2 days before the Eid, and he didn't know anything. But finally Murad discovered that it has been used for conflicting issue. I think that might make him to never listen to anything from a Nur Islamic Center, because they try to use, as usual, newcomers for critical situation. I remember another brother, his name is Ammar, who's from Ammar, if I don't remember, he's Egyptian. He was just coming, and then they give him a position as a moderator of Masjid committee. We have 1 million list on Facebook, and then they ask him to block some people because they are worried to do by themselves, and they use him to block some people that they didn't like, because this kind of blocking also they do, this kind of stuff that we did not grow up with. So this kind of ways of using newcomers, that's why please ask your countrymates if they have been asked any task about Foucault and Nur Islamic Center to not quickly go, because they might be used for some critical situation, because some of us, we are still struggling to change the system, to have a strong committee and deal things professionally, inshallah. And there is another point I want to, yeah, to add here is about the kids matter during Ramadan. That Imam said that some shura, but he himself, because it's not the first year, but also 2 years back, this kind of idea of asking kids less than 10 years to not pray with the men in the first, how to say, floor, you know, is there. So it's not something about new, but he has this kind of mentality. And then finally he sent a message to the same brothers from how to say, Bangladesh and Pakistan and Indonesia and Malaysia, that okay, no, Malaysia, sorry, and this is the policy that we need a kid less than 10 years to not pray with adult. So we have to follow the shura. Brothers and sisters, listen very carefully. The whole Japan, they made a shura and they decided the zakatul fitr to be 1,500. Only this guy refused to follow the shura. And shura from Japan. And then we decided, if you have some kind of opposition or stuff, why you didn't go to those brothers and discuss with them and have some kind of consensus? But he's still repeating the zakatul fitr, sometimes 400 yen, some last year 2017 was 300 yen, and all Japan through shura 1,500. You are expecting Muslims to follow shura and you don't follow shura. Then it's really funny, right? So if you feel those 8 points are about personal matter, matters with this imam, that is your choice. But actually it's not about personal, but it's organizational issue related to what is called rational model in social science, that some issues might be logic, might be accepted, and through how to say, reading and having knowledge on organization, decisions have been taken. But this guy is a danger of the system in Fukuoka. So therefore, it's not really personal. But if, for example, you are a person and you enter in an organization and you started to how to say, to weaken the role of the organization itself, so maybe it might be personal, but in the end of the day, that is organizational issue. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.